Welcome back to the Dota Basics series. In this episode we're going to cover the user interface elements, basically everything other than your character and the map that you're walking on. But before we start, I just want to say thank you to Red Bull as well as the Patreons for supporting me on the video series. This episode wouldn't happen without you guys. The most important UI element to keep track of is your health point and mana point bars. HP or health point bars show you how much maximum health your hero has, as well as your current health represented by a bar that fills up with green when you're healed. When you're out of health, your hero dies, so you should probably keep an eye on it. The blue bar is your MP or mana points. Mana is spent when casting abilities or using items that have mana costs. If you're out of mana, then your hero can't cast abilities or use items that have mana costs. When selecting a hero, you'll be able to see detailed information about these bars, such as what exact value they have. And importantly, you can see how much health and mana they're regenerating every second on the right side of these bars. In addition to the detailed health and mana bars from clicking on heroes or units, all heroes naturally have health bars resting over their heads. These bars represent what percentage of max health the unit currently has. The color of the health bar matches loyalty to your team. All of your allies will have green bars, while all enemies will have red bars over their heads. If you're colorblind and you feel that being able to easily distinguish between enemies and allies is important to your gameplay, you can also check the box in the settings to avoid using red and green for color schemes. The health bars are a little different between types of units. For creeps, the bars are smaller and less pronounced to show they're non-hero units. For heroes, the bars are larger, so you can better see which characters are heroes, and they also show you what level the hero currently is if you can't be bothered to open the scoreboard to check hero levels. One difference between allied and enemy heroes is that for allies, you can see a mana bar that represents their current percentage of mana to help you quickly recognize their fighting capabilities. For enemy heroes, mana bars aren't available, and they force you to click on them directly if you wish to know their mana pool. The last important feature for health bars of heroes are the health point ticks. For creeps, their health bars are solid green or red, but allied and enemy heroes have little black marks spaced out across their bar. What these ticks represent is increments of health, so that you can estimate enemy or allied health without having to click on them. The small black lines represent 250 health points, while the darker black lines show every 1000 health, and that way you can estimate health of an enemy hero without being familiar with them or being forced to click on them. The next most important part of the user interface is where your skills are. Most heroes have 3 basic abilities and 1 ultimate, but there are some heroes who have sub-abilities that affect their skills or might be entirely unrelated. Monkey King can turn into trees and bananas and couriers, for example. If you haven't leveled up a skill yet, also known as putting in a skill point, the skill will be grayed out. Once leveled, the skill will become colorful and show the mana cost for the ability in the bottom right of the skill icon. When they've been used and are on cooldown, they'll have a number showing time remaining, as well as a clock wheel to estimate how soon it'll become available again. If you don't have enough mana for a skill, the icon will be darkened until you gain enough mana. The number next to your hero portrait shows what level you currently have and how close you are to the next level. As you gain experience, the yellow circle will round and eventually level you up. Once you level up, your hero will have yellow plus boxes over the skills you can spend your skill points on. Simply click on one of those boxes or hold Control while pressing the skill hotkey to level it up. Keep in mind that you can't get your ultimate until you reach level 6, with a few rare exceptions, and that you can spend your skill points on your talent tree at the 10, 15, 20, and 25 levels as well. The talent tree gives you choices between 2 paths and lets you only choose one of them. You don't have to skill them as soon as they're available, but they generally give a large benefit to your hero. Next to your abilities are your item slots. There are 9 in total, but the bottom 3 are different from your top 6. The top 6 are your in-use items, and you can only hold 6 at a time. The bottom 3 are backpacked items. Backpacked items are stored and have no effect while there. Keep in mind that if you use an item and it goes on cooldown, that if you move it to your backpack, it's going to take a lot longer for it to come off cooldown rather than if it was in one of your 6 active item slots. Next, we've got your hero stats. The most important details are right here next to your hero portrait. All of these icons change when your hero is affected, whether due to an enemy ability or purchasing a new item. They're a quick way to know how strong your hero is. Starting from the top, the sword indicates your average damage every time you hit a unit. Hovering your cursor over these stats will reveal more detailed information. In the more detailed version, you'll see the minimum and maximum damage for every hit. The shield icon, indicating your armor, determines how resistant you are to physical damage. In the more detailed information, you'll be able to see how much physical damage you reduce with your current armor. Nearby that, you'll also be able to see your resistance for magical damage. For almost all heroes, they'll start at 25% magic resistance. The boot icon is really important as it tells you your movement speed. The speed will adjust if you use an item like phase boots to temporarily boost your speed, or if you're slowed by something like Orb of Venom. Keep in mind that you can also check on the movement speed of enemies by clicking on them. Finally, the colored icons at the bottom are your hero's 3 attributes, a holdover from Warcraft 3. Each attribute, strength, agility, and intelligence, provide your hero with small benefits that when added up make your hero stronger. Every hero starts with different amounts of each attribute and gains more of them every time they level up. The amount they gain for each level is called their stat gain, and it changes based on the hero. What does each attribute do? Strength points increase your health points and HP regen. Agility points increase your armor and attack speed. And intelligence increases your mana points, mana regen, and spell amplification. However, all heroes have a primary attribute that gives them additional benefits. All heroes gain health and health regen from one strength attribute, but a hero whose primary attribute is strength, called a strength hero, also gains 1 damage from that point. Like strength, agility heroes gain 1 damage from a point of agility, and intelligence heroes gain 1 damage from a point of intelligence. There are further benefits for each primary attribute. Strength heroes gain status resistance from their strength, which lowers the duration they're disabled by enemies. Agility heroes gain a small movement speed increase from their agility attributes, and intelligence heroes gain extra magic resistance from each intelligence point. That does it for attributes and this part of the screen. To the left, we've got the minimap and a couple of buttons, unless you choose to move the minimap somewhere else. The map contains a bunch of icons for important things on the map like creeps, towers, and heroes. The little yellow button to the right of the map is your fortify button. Clicking it will make all of your buildings and creeps invulnerable for a few seconds, but it puts it on cooldown for several minutes. Whenever a tier 1 tower falls, your fortification will be refreshed. Above the fortify button, you've got a blue button called scan. The scan will detect if there are any enemies in a selected area, even if they're invisible or smoked. The default color of the scan is green. If it goes red, it means there's currently enemies at that location. The scan will not reveal invisible or smoked enemies, only inform you that they are there under the scan area. It will not, however, detect any heroes inside the Roshan pit. Slightly outside of it? Yeah, that'll work. On the bottom right side of the screen are your gold and courier buttons. You can always see how much gold you have by looking at the gold counter there. If you hold your mouse over the icon, you can get more detailed information like how much gold you'll lose upon death, how much reliable or unreliable gold you have, and if you'll have enough money to buy back from death. Buyback is a feature where you can spend gold to instantly respawn, say to defend your base after dying. The buyback button becomes available during death at the bottom of your portrait. If you click on the gold button, the shop will open on the right side of your screen. This tab will show you all the basic items in the shop, meaning items that can only be purchased, not created. The upgraded items found here will show all the items you can create with the basic components. If you're uncertain what to buy, you can click this button, which will give you a list of available item guides. Selecting a guide will bring up a list of items to purchase. The shop will look different if you're currently next to a secret shop or by a side shop, since different items are available in those shops. The courier button, when pressed, will instruct the courier to grab your items from base and deliver them to you. If you don't have a courier or want to grab items from your stash, you'll have to travel to the fountain with your hero and press the grab all button below your stash when you're nearby. At the top of your screen, you can see the heroes in the game. The 5 heroes on the left is the Radiant team, and the 5 heroes on the right is the Dire team. When heroes on your team become level 6 and skill their ultimates, small diamonds will appear on their hero icon. The diamonds will be green if their ultimates are ready, or black if they're on cooldown. If they don't have enough mana to cast their ultimates, the diamonds will be dark blue. Keep in mind you can only see these ultimate indicators on your team, not your enemies. If a hero is dead, their icon will be grayed out, and a timer below will show the delay until their respawn. If one of your teammates is dead but has buyback available, you can see a golden line around their death timer to show you they could buy back. The numbers next to each team show how many kills their team has. Between the hero icons and their kill totals is a clock that indicates how far into the game you are. Above the watch, there's also a sun or moon, which indicates day or night. This is important because most heroes, units, and buildings see shorter distances during the nighttime. Finally, we've got this top left section. This bit of information tells you your kills, deaths, and assists in the current game, and underneath it, it shows the number of last hits and denies you have. Last hits and denies are commonly called CS or creep score in Dota. This button will take you back to the dashboard while remaining in your Dota 2 game, as long as you don't click disconnect from game. I should mention that leaving an active game has consequences, so do your best to play until the end. The gear button you've seen me press multiple times now is the setting menu, where you can adjust tons of settings related to gameplay and preferences. Go poke around in there and check stuff out. These 3 bars is the button for the scoreboard. Here you can see the kill and death ratio of all the heroes in the game as well as their levels. You can also see the current gold of your teammates. These buttons are extremely important. They're for muting players. By clicking the speaker icon, you'll mute their microphone, and clicking the T will mute what they write. Remember that will only apply the mute for you. Other teammates will still be able to read and hear the person you've muted, and that person will still be able to hear you. If someone is being rude, angry, critical, etc., just mute them. You can still win Dota 2 without communication, and you'll probably have a higher chance to win when you mute toxic people. This button can also be valuable in very rare cases. These options can give or remove your teammate's ability to control you if you need to go away from the keyboard for a bit, or let your allies control your summoned units. The final option here is to disable help from an ally, which you might want to do if your allies are deliberately using skills to hurt you, say by teleporting you into the enemy fountain. In the next episode of the Dota Basics series, we'll cover items more thoroughly, where to buy them, how inventories work, and things like that. Stay tuned!